Those are the questions that we maybe don't speak out loud, we maybe haven't consciously reflect upon, or usually we haven't reflect upon, but we all have some sort of answer for them. And they are most certainly affecting your every decision and every interaction in your life. Hey, what's up, my friends? Welcome to another video. I am Juan, and today we're going to talk about why your framework matters. So, we go through life evaluating different situations, and we use a specific criteria to evaluate situations that is in our subconscious mind, and that is the criteria that tells us or helps us differentiate what is good and what is bad and how to look at things. And that criteria is based on our framework, the framework we use to see the world. Your mental framework are those core beliefs that help you see everything else. It's like the limits you have in your mind to make sense of things. Because imagine if you didn't have this framework, everything will be malleable, everything will be unpredictable, and that will be way too much for our minds. So the framework gives us kind of limits and barriers to help us orient ourselves. But the thing with the framework is we didn't choose it. It was given to us. And it affects every day and every decision you make in your life. So let's look at some examples of mental frameworks. And I think one of the most common and easy to understand is religion, because religion has defined the mental framework for a lot of individuals in our history. Let's imagine there is a religion that has superior entity, a god, and this god, he has or she has specific traits. It's either really benevolent or really vindictive. And this God and this religion has defined for you what is good and what is bad and what is appropriate and what is not, and what is your role in life and where do you come from and where are you going. There are all these stories and all these beliefs around these big questions that are answered in religion and that frame how you behave in your everyday life. There are also other kinds of frameworks. Another example will be science, or a science-based framework in which you say, hey, I don't know where we come from and we don't know where we are going, but we know we are maybe a product of chance, of evolution, or evolution has taught us what is good for us and what is bad for us in the short and in the long run, and our purpose is maybe just to keep developing, just to understand ourselves better. That will be also a framework to look at things. But there is rarely a framework that is ultra clearly defined. Like you have specific pieces from different frameworks depending on where you grew up. So where do frameworks come from? We usually get our frameworks from our ancestors. We get our frameworks from our parents. We get our frameworks from our peers, from society, the society we live in our formative years, in the first maybe 20 years. And that is what defines what is good, what is bad, and how we should behave to fit in that community. So frameworks, they are also shared depending on the society and the people you live with, you grew up with. And one thing to understand about frameworks is that it's not just core beliefs, but it's specific core beliefs that address the more transcendental questions, like really the actual frame through which you organize everything else. What do framework questions look like? For example, where do we come from? Why are we here in this experience with a body and reality? Where are we going? What is the purpose of our existence here, and where are we moving towards? What is the end goal, or is there an end goal? Those are the questions that we maybe don't speak out loud, we maybe haven't consciously reflect upon, or usually we haven't reflect upon, but we all have some sort of answer for them, and they are most certainly affecting your every decision and every interaction in your life. So let's take a shot at one of the framework questions. And just to be clear, these are questions that science and philosophy try to answer on the daily, and it's really hard. And a lot of times the answer is just I don't know. But bear with me here. I want to give you an example, a real example of what could be a framework question that is affecting you and how it is affecting you. So the question of what is the purpose of our existence here on earth and as physical beings, etc. And if you look, for example, at religion, at a certain religion, it will be to get rid of our sins. Like we are born with certain evil in us, and our job here is to get rid of our sins, and that's why we were created. Another framework will be to get rid of suffering. Our purpose here is to get rid of the suffering that this physical or mundane existence provides. My personal answer, just between us, my personal answer for the question, what is our purpose here, is to learn and to serve. I thought a lot about it, and this is the answer that best fits my framework and my worldview and my everyday action. Because in my answer to learn and to serve, there are two things that are obvious for us. The one thing is we're learning something here. Yeah, that's a main possibility, that we are capable to learn new things, to develop, and to not only individually but also as a society, as a race. And we are also here to serve, because one other pattern that's usual in at least among humans, but also among other animals, is we'll have a function. We'll have a certain function that we have to fulfill, or that we fulfill in our society. And the more aware you are of what you can contribute, how you can serve yourself and those around you and the world, the better results you have. So in the next point you may ask, hey, how does the framework affects my life? That is pretty easy to understand actually, because your framework is the filter you use to make sense of everything else in the world, every situation you encounter and every challenge you face. So according to what you have in your framework, you will evaluate the situation as good or bad, positive, negative, like for you or against you, and you will generate a feeling out of that. You will generate a possible reaction, you will behave in some certain way, and you will get a result out of your behavior. Your result and that the whole process is a little bit tainted with that framework belief. Every result you get is a result in part of the framework you're using. That's why it's so important to be aware what is your framework and what results are you getting, and what results would you like to have, and then work it backwards up to the framework question. Now here is the interesting part of this video. How do you reframe? How do you change your framework? How do you evaluate it? And I think that's a big topic that I cannot cover in one or two videos. That should be a whole course. That's actually a life task. But you can start by becoming aware of what is the framework you are using. Like, how are you thinking about things in life? Through which lens are you looking at things? And what beliefs lie beyond that? And you do that by asking a couple of really big questions. Why are we here? Where are we going? What is the purpose of our existence? Who am I? What are my values? That kind of stuff. And then evaluate what results am I getting, or better said, what results that I am getting I do not like. And try to find out which framework question or which framework answer is affecting those results. Because then you will realize, okay, if this framework answer is not helping me, then maybe I should rethink my framework in some way. Now, rethinking a framework is also a pretty difficult thing because it has to make sense for you. It's not like you repeat it 1,000 times and then you believe it, but it's more like it has to be logical in some way so that you can actually implement it. That is a task on itself, but by recognizing which framework you're using and how is it affecting certain results in your life, you will be able to become 1% a little bit better in how you live your life and how you experience it. So I hope you liked this video. If you liked it, please subscribe and hit the notifications bell, and that will help me bring this message to a lot more people. And I hope to see you in the next one. Take care.